Walt Bellamy was a freak of nature, standing at 6'11" and strong with the ability to run the floor, helping create easy finishes around the rim, whether from post-ups or getting out on the break, while also grabbing rebounds at a high rate and anchoring the middle on defense, putting together a Hall of Fame caliber career where he was a 4-time All-Star, Olympic gold medal winner, led the league in field goal percentage, and had one of the best rookie seasons in NBA history. This is a look back on Walt Bellamy's career. Walt Bellamy was born and raised in New Bern, North Carolina, where he would pick up the game of basketball, having a natural gift for it, as he played his high school basketball at J.T. Barber, and while there he would garner the interest of several colleges, and Walt Bellamy would decide to go play his basketball at Indiana University, because he had played ball with some of the guys in the past in the summer, and it was one of the more southern schools at the time that was accepting of African American players, as he was a Southerner at heart. Bellamy, as soon as he stepped onto the court, became Indiana's best player, averaging 17.4 points and 15.2 rebounds his sophomore season, with Indiana having a middle-of-the-line year. Walt Bellamy elevated his play even further his junior season, averaging 22.4 points and 13.5 rebounds, helping Indiana go 20-4, finishing second in the Big Ten, and for Bellamy's efforts, he was named an All-American. In the summer, Walt Bellamy would play for the 1960 U.S. men's Olympic basketball team, because only amateur athletes were allowed to play in the Olympics at the time. Walt Bellamy was joining a loaded USA team with 8 future NBA All-Stars and 4 Hall of Famers, which included Jerry West, Jerry Lucas, Oscar Robertson, Bob Boozer, Adrian Smith, Daryl Imhoff, and Terry Dischinger. Behind this core and Walt Bellamy, Team USA dominated the Olympic competition, winning its games by an average of 42.4 points per game, picking up the gold medal along the way, with the team going down in history as the best amateur men's basketball Olympic team of all time, later earning its place in the Hall of Fame alongside the Dream Team. Walt Bellamy during the Olympics averaged 8.1 points while being the team's starting center. The Team USA stint had seemed to have a positive impact on Bellamy's play as he entered his senior year at IU. Walt Bellamy averaged 21.8 points and 17.8 rebounds, becoming an All-American for the second straight year in a row. And in Walt Bellamy's final college career game, he would go down in the record books as he would record a 33-rebound performance, setting a Big Ten Conference record that still stands today. Bellamy left Indiana as its all-time record holder in rebounds per game, most rebounds in a season, and most double-doubles, which all still stand. Entering the NBA draft, Walt Bellamy was by far and ahead the top prospect for the draft, as the center position was the most important in basketball at the time, and Bellamy had highlighted his effectiveness from scoring and rebounding at a high rate while being efficient. In 1961 NBA draft, Walt Bellamy was drafted first overall by the Chicago Packers, who were an expansion team in their first year of existence. Walt Bellamy was brought in to be the face of the team, where he delivered in putting up the second best rookie season of all time behind Wilt Chamberlain, as Bellamy averaged 31.6 points and 19 rebounds and led the league in field goal percentage at 51.6%. Walt Bellamy would be named an All-Star, where he would continue his dominance in the All-Star game, scoring 23 points and grabbing 17 rebounds. Bellamy also had won the Rookie of the Year award for his dominance this season. Yet as Walt Bellamy had individual success this season, the team struggled as an expansion teams often do, as they went 18-62, with most of Bellamy's teammates finding themselves out of a job next season. In the offseason, the Chicago Packers would rebrand to the Chicago Zephyrs, and next season Walt Bellamy would have some help, as the Zephyrs had drafted Bellamy's former Olympic teammate in Terry Dischinger to be his right-hand man. With the addition of Dischinger, Bellamy's numbers would dip, but he was still dominant, averaging 27.9 points and grabbing 16.4 rebounds, earning his second All-Star appearance. But again, the team had struggled, being a newer franchise, going 22-55, missing the playoffs. In the offseason, the organization again would switch things up, moving the team to Baltimore and rebranding to the Baltimore Bullets. But the more important move in the offseason was hitting in the draft again by adding Gus Johnson to the team. Walt Bellamy again put up similar numbers to the prior year, averaging 27 points and 17 rebounds, becoming an All-Star for the third time in just as many years. Meanwhile, the team was slowly but surely improving, going 31-49, but still missing the playoffs. In the offseason, the Bullets made a blockbuster trade that had sent Terry Dischinger to the Pistons for Don Ole and Bailey Howe. Walt Bellamy's numbers would drop some, but he was no longer required to do everything for the Bullets, as Bellamy averaged 24.8 points and 14.6 rebounds, picking up his fourth All-Star nod, with the highlight of the season for Bellamy being a 30-point and 37-rebound performance. Meanwhile, the move for Ole and Howe had paid off as the Bullets went 37-43, making the playoffs for the first time in the team's existence as a 3-seed. The Bullets got the St. Louis Hawks in the playoffs, led by Bob Pettit, Zelmo Beatty, Bill Bridges, Lenny Wilkins, and Cliff Hagan. The Bullets had entered as the underdogs, but they would proceed to upset the Hawks 3-1 as Bob Pettit was banged up, not being able to perform at his normal level of efficiency. The Bullets, making it into the Western Division Finals, met the Los Angeles Lakers, headed by Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, Rudy LaRusso, and Dick Barnett. One could argue that the Bullets and the Lakers matched up evenly talent-wise, but Jerry West was on the Lakers, as West would proceed to put up astronomical numbers in the series, averaging 46.3 points over it, as Jerry West would help push the Lakers over the top in several close victories, winning the series in 6 games. In the postseason, Walt Bellamy became the second option on the team to Ole, with Bellamy averaging 20.9 points and 15.1 rebounds over the postseason. As the next season came around, it looked like the Bullets were going to try to repeat its postseason success with the same core. Before 8 games into the season, the Bullets would trade Walt Bellamy to the New York Knicks for Jim Barnes, Johnny Egan, Johnny Green, and cash. The Knicks had wanted Bellamy because they knew he would be their go-to guy after a couple of poor seasons in a row, as the Knicks looked to build around a young star in Bellamy. Bellamy was on a Knicks team now with Dick Barnett and Willis Reed. Walt Bellamy on the season led the Knicks with 22.8 points and 15.7 rebounds, and for a Knicks team that struggled to find its form though, as they went 30-50 missing the playoffs. Next season, Willis Reed took control over the team as its best player, seeing Bellamy become the second option on the offense, with Walt Bellamy's numbers dipping to 19 points and 13.5 rebounds. But the new team dynamic behind Reed, the Knicks went 36-45, making the playoffs as a 4-seed, meeting the Boston Celtics in round 1 with Bill Russell, Sam Jones, John Havlicek, and Bailey Howe, where the Celtics, behind Sam Jones in particular, seemed to overwhelm the Knicks, winning the series 3-1. Bellamy over the series had played well against Bill Russell, averaging 18.3 points and 16.5 rebounds. In the offseason, the Knicks continued to improve, adding Walt Frazier through the draft. Next season, Bellamy saw his role reduced again, becoming the third option to Reed and Barnett now, but still played his role well, averaging 16.7 points and 11.7 rebounds. Meanwhile, the Knicks continued to be on the up and up, going 43-39, making the playoffs as a 3-seed, getting a matchup against the Philadelphia 76ers, led by Wilt Chamberlain, Hal Greer, Chet Walker, and Billy Cunningham. The Knicks would drop Game 1 before winning Game 2, with Bellamy leading the way with 26 points and 17 rebounds. Then, in a similar formula, the Knicks dropped Game 3 before winning Game 4 behind Walt Bellamy again, as he led the team with 28 points and 13 rebounds, tying the series up. But the remaining 2 games, Hal Greer elevated his play, sending the Knicks home in 6. Over the series, Walt Bellamy had proved his own, battling against Wilt Chamberlain out of all people to average 20 points and 16 rebounds. As next season came around, Walt Bellamy was playing a smaller role within the offense as Frazier was improving, seeing Bellamy become expendable for the right price. The Knicks decided to trade Walt Bellamy with Howard Komives to the Detroit Pistons for Dave DeBusschere, who would be a better fit next to Willis Reed. Bellamy again found himself leaving a team that was about to break through to join a team that was not quite there retooling. The Pistons at the time were led by Dave Bing and Happy Hairston, seeing Walt Bellamy step into the third option on the team, averaging 17.4 points and 12.5 rebounds on the season between New York and Detroit. And because of the trade, Walt Bellamy set a record for most games played in an NBA season at 88 games, which is highly unlikely to be broken. Meanwhile, the Pistons struggled, going 32-50, missing the playoffs. Walt Bellamy next season saw his minutes cut as he split time with Otto Moore, and as a result again found himself on the trade block. Walt Bellamy was traded to the Atlanta Hawks for John Arthurs. Bellamy was joining a Hawks team with playoff aspirations, needing Bellamy to anchor the center position. Leading the way for the Hawks was Lou Hudson, Bill Bridges, and Joe Caldwell. Walt Bellamy fit well in, improving his form to averaging 11.6 points and 8.9 rebounds on the season between Detroit and Atlanta, helping the Hawks go 48-34, making the playoffs as a 1 seed. Round 1, the Hawks took care of business against Chet Walker, Bob Love, Jerry Sloan, and the Chicago Bulls, winning via a gentleman's sweep, as it felt like Bellamy and Bridges grabbed every rebound. In the Western Division Finals, the Hawks met the Los Angeles Lakers, now led by Wilt Chamberlain, Jerry West, and Elgin Baylor. Bellamy over the series led the Hawks in scoring and rebounding, but his improved form was not enough as the Lakers trio had more skill and talent, sweeping the Hawks 4-0. Walt Bellamy over the postseason had found his form again, averaging 16.8 points and 15.6 rebounds. In the offseason, the Atlanta Hawks would lose Joe Caldwell, who signed a contract joining the ABA. The Hawks filled the hole Caldwell left in drafting Pistol Pete Maravich. Walt Bellamy played a similar role to the prior year with the Hawks, averaging 14.7 points and 12.9 rebounds. Meanwhile, the Hawks seemed to be missing Caldwell, going 36-46, but they still made the playoffs, getting a series against Bellamy's former team in the New York Knicks, where the Knicks put away without much of a fight the Hawks, winning the series 4-1 as Walt Frazier led the way. Walt Bellamy seemed to have vengeance on his mind this series, though, as he played great despite his team's struggles against the Knicks, averaging 20.8 points and 14.4 rebounds while leading the postseason in field goal percentage at 59.4%. The following season, Walt Bellamy continued his career resurgence, averaging 18.6 points and 12.8 rebounds. Meanwhile, the Hawks looked identical to the other year, even after trading away Bill Bridges, going 36-46, making the playoffs facing the Boston Celtics round 1, headed by John Havlicek, JoJo White, and Dave Cowens. The star players on both teams would play well, but the difference would be the Celtics' championship experience and role players like Steve Kuberski stepping up his play, with the Celtics beating the Hawks in 6 games. Over the series, Bellamy had put up similar numbers to the regular season, averaging 18.5 points and 13.7 rebounds. Next season, Walt Bellamy entered with the same role on a similar Hawks team, seeing Bellamy average 16.1 points and 13 rebounds. But the Hawks were improving, with Maravich starting to excel, going 46-36, again making the playoffs and meeting the Boston Celtics, who had improved since their prior meeting with the addition of Paul Silas. The series was almost identical to the prior year, going 6 games, but John Havlicek was hot throughout this go-around, sending the Hawks home again. Over the series, Walt Bellamy had averaged 13.7 points and 12.2 rebounds as his form seemed to be declining with his age, where Bellamy continued this form into next season, averaging 13.1 points and 9.6 rebounds. With Bellamy's form declining, the Hawks followed suit, going 35-47, missing the playoffs, as well as the fact that Hudson had missed a couple of games, causing the dip. In the offseason, the NBA had an expansion draft with the New Orleans Jazz joining the league, where the Atlanta Hawks left Bellamy unprotected, resulting in the New Orleans Jazz selecting Walt Bellamy in the expansion draft, where Walt Bellamy proceeded to play in 1 game with the New Orleans Jazz, scoring 6 points and grabbing 5 rebounds before being waived, which ended up being Walt Bellamy's last NBA game, retiring afterwards after not getting picked up. Over Walt Bellamy's 14-year career, he had averaged 20.1 points, 13.7 rebounds, while shooting 51.6% from the floor. In retirement, Walt Bellamy was active within the Atlanta community, within AACP, the Urban League, the YMCA, and Goodwill, using his platform from his playing days to have a positive impact within the community. Walt Bellamy later on would go on to get inducted into the NBA Hall of Fame in 1993, and then again in 2010 as a member of the 1960 U.S. men's basketball team. Walt Bellamy will be remembered for his physical dominance on the court over his career, where he bruised his way down low, scoring at a high field goal percentage, with also having the ability to get out and run for his size, creating easy finishes at the hoop. Bellamy was also a glass cleaner, grabbing rebounds like no tomorrow at a crazy rate, while also manning the middle on defense every night against some of the best centers in the league, being extremely durable, even playing in 88 games one season. all of which helped Bellamy carve out a Hall of Fame career that saw him be a 4-time All-Star, win a gold medal, and have one of the most dominant rookie seasons in NBA history. Bells had balled out his whole career. Thanks for watching this video on Walt Bellamy's career. If you want to see any other videos in the future about any other random players, leave them in the comments below, and I may or may not decide to do them. Who knows? Thanks again for watching. This has been Skid Denver.